My clock shows 1 o'clock, so I'll go ahead and ask Mo to call roll.
Town of Ashland, Ms. Mertz-Gwynn.
Here.
Charles City County, Ms. Adams. Chesterfield County, Ms. Smith. Ms. Walker. Goochland County, Mr. Goyne. Mr. Longerbeam.
Here. Sorry, I'm here. The mic was going through its unmuting.
Oh, no problem. Hanover County Chair Vidunas.
Here.
Henrico County, Ms. Smidler. Mr. De Leon. New Kent County, Ms. Inman.
Yeah, DeLeon is here. I was able to find the unmute.
Oh, thank you. New Kent County, Ms. Inman.
Yeah. Good afternoon. I'm here.
Thank you. Powhatan County, Ms. Dutton. Mr. Haney.
Just move Ms. Dutton over.
Thank you. City of Richmond, Mr. Wagner. Mr. Bonau. GRTC, Mr. Adarkwa. Mr. Dillard.
Here.
Thank you. Cvta, Mr. Parsons.
Here. Mr. Wagner's here.
Thank you. Plan RVA, Mr. Bushing.
Here.
VDRPT, Ms. Dubinsky. Mr. Hudson.
Here.
VDOT, Mr. Hagan.
Here.
RMTA, Ms. Dean. Virginia Port Authority, Ms. Nelson. And we do have a quorum.
Okay, excellent. Moving on to item 4 of the agenda. The next item would be the consideration of any amendments to the agenda. Does anyone care to offer an amendment to the agenda? Okay. Next is approval of the March 9, 2026 meeting minutes. Are there any changes, additions, corrections to the minutes? Okay, do we have a motion? I'll move for approval if I'm allowed to do that.
I'll second.
Okay, great. We have a second. This could be handled by voice vote. So all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Only heard 2 ayes.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Any opposed or any abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Meetings minutes are approved. Next up is opportunity for public comment. Turn to Chet or Sid. Do we have anybody from the public that wishes to participate?
I don't see anyone online.
Okay, great. All right, moving into the one main agenda topic is an update to the voting tool. Chet will provide an explanation, and this will require a vote to approve or to recommend approval. Okay, Mr. Executive Director, please.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm sharing the agenda page. This is item 7 in the packet. And as the chair mentioned, this is regarding the voting tool that the Cvta adopted at its first meeting. The background, just to read through, because I know there's a lot of new TAC members that may not have been around back in the beginning. This is it's a requirement for the Cvta that is reflected both in the state code as well as our bylaws. We do have a voting process by which decisions can be made by the full authority, including things like weighted voting based on members present and a requirement for an affirmative vote of 4/5 of the population of the region. The specific reason we're talking about this today is that at specified integrals, the authority has to update the population data used in the voting tool, and that is provided in 8 out of our 9 localities by the Weldon Cooper Center at UVA. Votes of the chief elected officer or localities or their designees shall be weighted. Just going through the requirements now. This is number 1. So there's different weightings based on the locality. We do have votes for every locality, as well as our delegate and senator, as well, and our Commonwealth Transportation Board member. Each voting member of the authority refers to the member or designee that is attending at the meeting. Each voting member of the authority shall be entitled to 1 vote in all matters requiring action. Decisions of the authority shall require an affirmative vote of those present and voting, whose votes represent at least 4/5 of the population embraced by the authority. There's very complicated language which the chair, vice chair, and I kind of poured over in the last 2 weeks. That's about the middle of that paragraph number 2. No motion to fund a specific facility or service shall fail because of the population criteria if such facility or service is not located or to be located or provided or be provided within the county or city whose chief elected officers or elected officials or its respective designees' sole negative vote caused the facility or service to fail to meet the population criteria. I'll provide a layman's interpretation of that in just a minute. But the bolded section here is really why we're here, why we're talking about this at the TAC meeting today. The population of the counties and cities embraced by the authority shall be the population as determined by the most recently preceding decennial census, except that on July 1st of the 5th year following such census, the population of each county and city shall be adjusted based on population estimates made by the Weldon Cooper Center for Public Service at the University of Virginia, and such adjusted population shall be utilized for the following years until the next decennial census. So we are now, Weldon Cooper made updates to the 2025 population data as reflected on July 1st. Those updates were actually released for the public consumption in February or early March of 2026. So once those population data were received by Cvta staff, we went through the voting tool and updated all the population data for each of the localities. The one outlier there is the town of Ashland, which Weldon Cooper did not do town population updates, but it referenced the census, the most recent updated census. So we updated Ashland, the town of Ashland's population data with that census information. We put a snapshot of the voting tool with the updated population information in the agenda packet. 2 things to note that is now, it's on page 7 of your agenda packet. 2 bullet notes is that the city of Richmond no longer has a single veto authority on a vote due to the 4/5 population requirement. And that is because the second bullet, based on bylaws number 2 above, Henrico County and Chesterfield County hold a single veto based on their respective populations, because their population grew to the extent over the last 5 years that it outpaced the growth of the city of Richmond, and that is the result of the population updates. So before I turn it back over to the chair, the last note there is Henrico and Chesterfield, because of that complicated language in the bylaws, cannot stop a project if the project is located in another jurisdiction and all the other member jurisdictions cast their votes to approve it. That's essentially the simplified way to explain all of the whereases and what fors in the bylaws and the state code regarding the population requirements. So with that being said, the Technical Advisory Committee is asked today to review the voting tool population updates and consider a recommendation to the full authority for approval. Mr. Chair, I know you've reviewed the information. You were involved in the beginning with the creation of the voting tool back in 2020, as well as I know Ms. Smith and maybe some others on the call today. So turn it back over to you to provide any other insight, but we're asking for a recommendation from the TAC.
No, I think you covered it very well, Chet. I would just say there's really not a decision on the part of TAC. We're directed to perform the update, and the numbers, the population totals are what they are. We have Chet now has the voting tool, if you will, on the screen, and myself and others have been through that. We've been through it many times, testing it, and it checks out. If somebody else finds something, please let us know, but I don't think you will. I think it's correct and provides the result that it's supposed to provide based upon the votes. So at that point, I'll open it up to questions and then seek a motion for, I guess, a recommendation for approval is what we're looking for here. Hi, Daniel.
Hey, y'all. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Thanks for bearing with me as I navigate microphone complications. I think the issue's on my end for the record. So Plan RBA and Cvta staff, you're in the clear. I think I figured it out. But just quick question on this, and I'm comfortable with it. I think, Joe, you framed the conversation well. The numbers are the numbers. I think for Richmond, just a clarifying question would be, since we fall in at 19.9%, it's very tight. What is the rationale behind rounding to a certain level of decimal? Just so I can understand the methodology. Is totally fine. Just wanted clarity there.
Honestly, I'm not following the question.
So we, based on the numbers that are presented by the Weldon Cooper Center,
The population figures, right?
Yeah, the population figures come out to 19.9 or 19.923. So yes, you could argue that's not 4/5, but in the spirit of it, it kind of is.
Well, yeah. So somebody else can jump in if they want to answer this. I'll attempt to answer it. Hopefully I say this correctly, but we took the actual population number, okay, and for Richmond that is 241,478, and we entered the population figures for all the other localities as they were presented by Weldon Cooper, with the exception of Ashland, which is a little bit different because they didn't have numbers, but and then the result is the result. And I wasn't even aware of this 19 point whatever percentage that you're referencing, but it's all of the numbers aggregated together, and then the vote is what it is. So there's no rounding necessarily that I see it. It's straight math.
Sounds good to me, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
We'll just have to push for some more growth in this code refresh process. Gonna catch back up. All right, y'all. Thank you.
Yes, and I just commentary on my part. That language, and I appreciate staff simplifying that language, because it's really difficult to interpret the we'll call it the veto verbiage, but very rarely what I expect. So far, we haven't had a vote that's come to that I recall. Not saying that we couldn't, our next vote could be that, but I think it's going to be a very, very rare circumstance that we find ourselves in that situation where we have to, where that comes into play, if you will. So, anyway, for what that's worth, which may not be worth anything, I'll just share that perspective. Okay, so, Chet, or I can find it, specifically, do we have a draft motion? The requested action recommend Central Virginia Transportation Authority adoption of the 2026 CVTA voting tool. And this would be by roll call vote. So do we have a motion and a second on that?
So moved, it's Barb.
Great,
Seconded, it's Beth.
perfect. Do we have any further discussion on this? Mo, will you please call roll?
Yes. Town of Ashland, Miss Mertz Nguyen.
I vote yes.
Chesterfield County, Miss Smith.
Aye.
Goochland County, Mr. Goyne.
Aye.
Hanover County, Chair Bidunas.
Aye.
Henrico County, did Sharon join?
Yes, I'm in it. I got the link. Aye.
Thank you. Powhatan County, Miss Dutton.
Aye.
New Kent County, Miss Inman.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Mr. Wagner.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Perfect. Okay, now's an opportunity for members of the committee to address the committee with any comments, anything that they'd like to share. Austin's leaving us. Okay. All right. I anticipated that this was going to be a quick meeting, so I don't think there's any complaints from any of us. So our next meeting is scheduled for May 11th at 2026 at 1 p.m. So we now stand adjourned. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
Great day, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.